I am Gowrie Hayden and I play the Knight.
My name is Ethelfled. I'm a professional soldier, trained to combat since the day I could walk.
I've always been a big fan of knights and anything swords, so I think my character was probably one of the easier ones to relate to than some of the fantasy ones. So I didn't really have to do a lot of research so much, but my character fought with broadsword and a shield, which was a weapon that I hadn't done that much, so it was a lot of new training for me. So that was a really great experience, taking on a whole new weapon, and broadswords are so much part of British and knight tradition, so that right there helps you develop your character.
This is called the tit parry.
The broadsword is a really tricky weapon, and people, I think, underestimate how difficult it is because it is so commonly used in TV and film. It is, not only is it one of the heaviest weapons, it's much longer than other ones. It changes your timing immensely than shorter, lighter, smaller weapons. Your feet have to move slower. They have to, and when you're fighting for TV and film and not actually hitting as hard as you would in real battle and trying to make it look like you are, the timing's even more difficult to make it look as heavy as it's supposed to be. So that changes everything. It's much easier, I think, as a sword fighter to have a light, small, short weapon and time your feet out to that than it is to make something like the broadswords look heavy and powerful and dangerous. And it's a two-handed weapon. It's always been easier for me to fight with one weapon in each hand as opposed to having both hands on something really big and heavy.
All right, here we go. We're ready, and action!
It's different with every project. I think I had done a lot more rapier, cutlass, smaller weapons. It's not very often that women get to fight with broadswords. It's typically a much bigger, heavier weapon, and people just don't choreograph female characters fighting unless you're Joan of Arc. It's pretty rare, which is why it was even more fun to have that opportunity.
No, it's only the shield. Everything else is perfect. Body's perfect. It's just a safety part of the shield. That's all.
I can do it!
She can do it!
She can do it! I can do it!
The benefit of having such great sword training with Tim is that you know how difficult it is and how challenging and how precise everything needs to be, and so for me, being someone who's trained with him, I never look at it as something easy going in. So it's always difficult. That's part of the fun and the challenge and the excitement. It was just a really great shoot. Everything went as smoothly as I think it could. We were one of the first groups up. Shooting fights is always a challenge for directors, for camera, for crew. And I think everybody really rose to the occasion and did a great job. I can't wait to see it all.
And action!
Oh, the big difference is you can't stop. In rehearsal, we have a tendency to stop when we forget something or when something goes wrong, and you can't do that on the day. And sometimes you have to make changes at the last second for camera, because maybe something isn't working, maybe they want a different angle, so you need to adjust the fight. Maybe, you know, people get tired. It's a much longer day than a 2-hour rehearsal, so everything changes. You know, my partner, I was graced with an amazing and wonderful fight partner, Holly. The Celts, the crazy Celts, and she was always funny. were just ridiculous in rehearsals. We just had so much fun working together, and she was just lovely and worked so hard and just a wonderful woman. Holly really held her own. She worked so hard, and she just did a wonderful job, and I was so grateful to have her as a partner. She better say the same thing about me. You always wish you had more time. As many extra rehearsals as Holly and I put in, more than the required amount. You just always wish you had more time on the day. You wish you could, especially when you're shooting, can we do it one more time? Can we just, that one little move wasn't quite what it should be, because, especially for me, because I want it, not only for myself as an actor and a sword fighter, I want it to be the best it can be, but for Tim and Charlie as well.
So in this case, I think the next one you get hit with the shield in the face, right? So yeah, you turn light, and pow, you get nailed. So there's a lot of momentum. That makes sense.
It's different than just acting for TV and film, because you have a little bit more control over just what you're doing. When you're fighting, there's so many different aspects that can go wrong at any moment. You always just wish you had another take. Oh, I had a lot of costume incidents on the day because my chainmail just kept falling apart. Because we're moving so much. It was about as heavy as I anticipated it, but you forget when you're fighting for hours at a time and an extra 30, 40 pounds between the sword and the shield and the chainmail, and it wears you down a little quicker than if you're just in sneakers and a t-shirt. I can't imagine what it was to fight back in the day, and 200 pounds of chainmail on a horse with. So I think I had it pretty lucky. I think the most wonderful thing about Tim's whole concept and design and this project in general is that it is all women, and that we are fierce warriors who aren't just dancing around half naked on camera. These are women who are strong and intelligent and lovely and trained so hard, and we're out there trying to kill each other. And I think that in the world of fighting, TV, film, women, social media, etc., it's just a great thing to show strong, empowering women doing something like that.
Everybody ready? Ready. All right. Ready, lady? Ready, and action!
It was great because we had women from all different walks of life, some people who had done sword fighting, some who never had, and everyone was just lovely and excited and passionate about the project, so it was a great experience, and nobody had a hard time putting all the rehearsal time in that needed to be put in, and we're just really excited to see the whole thing come to fruition. Oh, if any voting is involved, they have to vote for the night. That'd be my one thing.